Hello my amazing friends, I hope you guys are doing super well today. My name is Mackenzie and I'm so happy that you're here. Today I am coming with a video to you guys talking all about my skin and my skin journey because I know we all sometimes have skin issues, unless some of you are the lucky few that don't have any skin issues. Like my boyfriend, he has perfect skin and he does nothing to his skin. So yes, maybe you guys are some of the lucky ones, but if you're like me and you've been struggling with it, you're not alone and I'm here for you. And I just want to share with you guys my journey because it's been quite a journey. So I actually wanted to make one long video talking about my skincare journey and then my products, but it just was so long that it just was getting to be too much. Like I was going borderline like 45 minutes. So I just thought, okay, I'll just do a couple videos and share with you guys my story and then also the skincare products. So today's going to be all about the journey. So without further ado, let's get started. It's actually really cool that I was filming YouTube videos during this whole time because you can see where my skin was like super good and then you could see where it started to slowly get worse. So it was about February 2017 where I started to get little pimples, and I'm 27 years old now, and at that time I had just turned 24. So I was very weird. It was super strange that I was getting little pimples on my face. I just thought, okay, this is like really weird. I'm not a teenager anymore. I had usually pretty good skin. I mean, when I was a teen, I had some hormonal acne, but it definitely was not as bad as like little pimples on my cheeks. Like I just never had that. So it was super weird. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it's mold in my apartment. Maybe it's stress because you know, 2017 and 2018 was a pretty stressful time for me. So yeah, I just was thinking, oh, maybe it's that, you know, it'll clear up, it's fine. But it slowly started getting worse. I just started getting more pimples. I think it was on this cheek. It just started kind of like coming up and it just wouldn't go away. Like they just stayed for forever. It felt like anyway. Yeah, they wouldn't go away, and it just started. At first I was like, okay, maybe this is just something that's you know, just stressful period, but when I noticed that it just was continuing to stay, yeah, it started to worry me a little bit. It wasn't ever that bad at that time, but I just started to notice how it was sort of affecting me and how I felt like, oh, like I look like I'm not taking care of my skin. That's like what it started to look like. And this is before it got really, really bad. And, you know, I had gone through a stressful period in my job at that time. And then I had been in Hawaii for a couple months. I did notice that it was also not really improving when the stress was going away, when I was relaxing a lot. And, you know, people told me, lay in the sun, it'll dry out your acne, like, use acne products, like you know, use salicylic acid. Like I was getting so much advice from all over the place and I didn't know what was the right thing for me. So it just slowly progressively got worse, and then I started traveling in Italy, where it was pretty okay, but it actually started clearing up a bit. And I was also eating a lot of vegan food as I was going along, so I was staying with friends who were vegan. And I noticed that my skin was clearing up. I was feeling very happy, very joyful. I had then moved to Berlin and I was meeting all these new people and going out all the time, and it was so much fun. So my skin was clearing up a little bit at that time. I did have some pimples here and there, you can see in some of the videos that I was filming. I also had very long hair, so I would just like put my hair like this so you couldn't really like see the pimples. And yeah, that was one of my ways of like hiding it on YouTube. So it's actually kind of funny. I then met my current boyfriend, Beer, and then it was just so much fun with him. He wanted to go out all the time and go to parties and meet lots of new people and have German beers and beer gardens. And then summer came and we were just like living the high life the whole summer, traveling, going all over the place. And then my skin got really, really bad. Like it was to a point where I just started having these like horrible little pustules just coming up all along here, all along here. My forehead was always pretty okay, but yeah, it was mainly like in this sort of region here, on my nose a little bit, and like this sort of area was very irritated and very red. And yeah, I just was not taking care of it. I was in the sun all the time, especially during the summer. It just was like, I was always in the sun, drinking beers, having a good time, not wearing sunscreen, like, you know, going home late, not washing my makeup off my face. Like, it just was very, it was everything anti, which I could have done before, but now that my skin was starting to become more sensitive, it just couldn't handle it anymore. So I started to become concerned because it was starting to look very, very bad, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. I just was like, okay, so let's start taking care of it. So what I ended up doing was I started, you know, washing my face. I started to adopt some better habits, washing my face twice a day, and using moisturizers. And I noticed that it still like wasn't going away. So for me, usually once I start taking care of my skin, then it just would get better, but it just wouldn't stop going away. And I noticed that it was characteristically in this area here, and it was very, very red. And it wasn't like typical like pustules, like acne pustules. It was like very irritated spots. And I also noticed I had a lot of like broken blood vessels here, if you looked like very closely. So under all the redness and irritation and little irritated spots, there was a lot of broken blood vessels. So yeah, I just remember being like, okay, I don't know what this is. I don't think it's regular acne because I'm not a teenager. It's not in the hormonal areas. It's in this like interesting place just there. Everywhere else is fine. And I noticed my triggers: sun and drinking and any like rubbing or anything like that. Like using a makeup wipe to take off my makeup was making it irritated. So I started to educate myself a little bit more, and I started Googling like, okay, I'm an adult, and I'm getting these very red spots, and they're not like regular pimples, and these are my triggers. And of course, like, Google is not always the best place to be looking, but it started to come up with rosacea, and I thought, okay, this is very interesting because it's not going away. I'm starting to take a better care of my skin. Things like salicylic acid, like I bought like La Roche-Posay, Effaclear, like all these things that I thought were gonna make my skin better were actually making it way worse. So I just thought, okay, like maybe it's this rosacea. So I started getting like rosacea products. So I used the Eminence Organics like Calm skincare line, and what that actually did was that actually started to make it better. My skin looked great, like the redness went away. But then what happened was, I think I was in Mexico at the time with my family for Christmas, and I was in the sun a lot, and I had a huge flare-up. And I think what happened was that I had a big flare-up, and then I covered my face with all of this stuff that was like this really thick, like moisturizer and thick cleansers. And I think what it did is just sealed all of the bacteria into my, I know I keep like going like this, also because I don't want to touch my face. So I was just like, but yeah, I think it just like sealed all the bacteria into my skin. So then little pustules started coming up, and it looked like a combination of acne and a combination of rosacea. So at that time, I was pretty sure that I had rosacea, but I wasn't sure why the rosacea products were not clearing up my skin. So it just continuously, like, it was just like every month a new pimple showed up, every month a new flare-up came, and every month I had a new scar, a new dark spot on my face. And so it just started to accumulate, and it just started to look very not taken care of. I felt like I looked older. Like I just really noticed it just did not, my skin just was not healthy, and there was something that needed to change. So actually I had come to Amsterdam to start looking for work when me and my boyfriend decided to move from Berlin. And I was like, I can't do this on my own anymore. I need some help. So I went to an esthetician and she was very, very helpful here in Amsterdam. She said, you know, let's do some chemical peels. Let's get rid of this bacteria. And she taught me some things that I needed to know, like don't touch your face. Like I had known these things before, but yeah, I kind of ignored them. Don't touch your face. Like don't use like a washcloth, like cleanse well. Always wash your hands before you touch your face, and change your pillowcases, like all these things. And also she said the heat is really, really tough, so just try and don't be in the sun, and try and just like keep your skin cool, because that was another thing I just noticed, like the heat was just making it worse. And I had noticed that the previous summers as well, like it just was not doing well. And in Europe here, they don't really have air conditioning, so it just was like heat all the time. So I think maybe that was also a little bit of a contributing factor. But anyway, so yeah, so I signed up for 4 chemical peels with her, and it was really great because she was able to be gentle with my skin and get it all cleaned out. And then also we would clean it out, and then she would do the peel to take like another layer of skin off, and then she would use I don't know, it's like an infrared light or something that killed the bacteria. So I noticed that the actual like bacterial pimples went away, like they totally went away. And yes, that was amazing, and I was so happy about that. And that was when I started to notice, like even more so, how many broken red blood vessels I had on my cheeks. So that was when I really was like, I think I have rosacea, but I think I just have incredibly sensitive skin, to the point where like being out in the sun at all is going to cause a flare-up. Drinking amounts of alcohol consecutive days in a row is not good for my skin. Also, I was in Berlin for a year and a half or so, and everywhere that I went, there was always like cigarette smoke everywhere, and I'm also pretty sure that was a contributing factor. So yes, I just was like, okay, I just need to deal with this now, because the acne's away. I know I need to wash my hands every time. I know that I need to use products that are very sensitive. So I got some products that were just like super sensitive skin, like super simple, and that's just what I did. I just left it at that. I just had a cleanser and an AM and a PM moisturizer, and the AM had sunscreen in it, and then the PM moisturizer, and that was all. And that was when I started to notice my skin was clearing up. And yes, so now I have some more products that I use, but for the most part, I rarely ever get any pimples. I did go to the doctor and get a prescription for rosacea. So they did diagnose me with rosacea, and they did tell me that rosacea can look like acne. So I think I just had a combination of the two. But yeah, my skin is now almost totally clear. I think I have like one here because I went exercising with makeup on yesterday, so that was really not a good idea. But now it's like it's more in control, whereas before it just couldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I just couldn't get a hold of it. It was really not nice. And I also don't know. Maybe it was also the water in Berlin, because I'm in Amsterdam. So I moved from Berlin to Amsterdam, and now Amsterdam, like I don't notice any problems. Like nothing's really coming back. Like occasionally I'll get like a little spot on my cheek, and then it goes away. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Like, yeah. And I did hear that water is a bit harder in like there's more minerals in Berlin in the water. So I don't know, it could be that. So again, if you guys are struggling with any skincare, just know that like you're not alone, and also it doesn't mean that it's gonna last forever. I think just learning about your skin, learning what your triggers are, and also, you know, I didn't take any medication, but if that's something that you hear from your doctor or a doctor or multiple doctors, then maybe it is time to take some medication. I did hear from because I went to 2 doctors and the esthetician, and they did tell me like the doctor previously did tell me to go on Accutane, and then this doctor now, she said that Accutane wouldn't have helped. So I think it's really also important to make sure you get a proper diagnosis of what is going on with your skin. Looking back, I for sure have rosacea. Like, I'm actually a bit sad that it wasn't caught earlier. But now we know, and now everything's been working out really well, and I feel like, you know, I can wake up and I still have scars and everything like that. So if you are suffering with any skin issues, just know you're not alone, and I think you're beautiful in your own way, and who cares if anybody is saying anything about it, because I had people commenting on my skin, and I know how hurtful it is. So I can completely relate. So let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions. I'm going to be filming another video all about my products, so I'm very excited to share that with you guys. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave in the comments below. I am always here for you, so if you even need to talk about any skin issues or anything else as well, like, I'm always happy to talk. So anyways, I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Mwah.